So, I am making this podcast to just bring out some insights into people who use famous thinkers like Karl Marx to push their narrative in different ways. Here is a very good example where Jaggi Vasudev, a famous so-called guru, he is using Karl Marx. He's literally misinterpreting things or ideologies.
So, you want all those people who made money to give it away to you. It doesn't work like that. This is the problem.
No one is asking people who earn money to donate. No one is doing that because people are only worried about those who earn money by exploiting people. Like, let's say you make a product for 1 rupee and sell it for 1,000 rupees. Is something fundamentally wrong with that? That is the problem people are always arguing about, not just like asking for people who are making money just like that to donate to everyone. This is fundamentally a wrong argument to oppose charity. And there is a large amount of hypocrisy here because this guy is literally living on charity. He has a charitable trust. Isha Foundation is literally registered as a charitable trust which functions on donations from different people. So this is the level of hypocrisy.
This was the problem with Marx. Karl Marx. It's a dangerous thing to talk about, but I'll anyway talk, because I live dangerously. Marx thought, I was hugely influenced by him when I was a youth. Marx thought that the richest countries in the world will choose communism. He believed that. Marx may know much about economics, he knows nothing about human nature.
This is a lie because either he is misquoting Karl Marx or he doesn't understand what Karl Marx has said. Either way he is lying. Why? Because Karl Marx never in his writings ever said that rich countries will choose communism or socialism for any sake. Why? Because he was against the bourgeoisie and the capitalist economies which are completely against socialism. He was especially talking about how capitalism will make people more unequal with the growing and improving technologies all over in the industrial world. He was actually pointing out how these industrial societies are making people less and less creative and just making them as cogwheels in a bigger machinery. So that's what Karl Marx was pointing out. And also he was also of the opinion that if capitalism was ideal, like it is functioning with proper mechanisms, he also argued that it will actually improve society. Like, say for example, the production and the industrial industries will grow with improving technologies, then the human intervention into the production will be reduced and people will be more free and products will be generated at a more pace without human intervention or necessary for any humans to work. So that will free time for all the citizens of the country, and it's not like they are living on a social security, but it will be more free, and government has to provide people money or other resources to live. Now that the production is taken over by just industries that can function on its own with robotics or other advanced machinery. That was his ideas, but he also said that since the society won't go in that direction, it is practically impossible for a well developed society to take care of the people, because they will be aiming at making more profits by exploiting the workers. That's what happened. He actually predicted that with growing industries, the owners of the industries will be making more money and the workers will be making lesser and lesser money over the time.
But only the poorest of the poor always identified with communism.
The poor and marginal societies affiliate themselves with socialism. Why? Because they stand for the values of the socialism, like equality or more liberal societies, not the way it turned out nowadays to be. So when you say poor are following these ideologies, it means that they are up for more equal societies, not just blindly following wherever the socialism or communism takes. And
what this means is, there's a beautiful incident which occurred. Mark Twain, again I'm bringing him back. He was so fascinated because this idea that Russia turned communism just excited all people, thinking people on the planet, because this is the most fantastic thing that can happen. People who have money will share with people who don't have, people who have food will share with those who don't have, and they will live wonderfully together. What better dream? Fantastic dream. So he was so excited, he made a trip to Russia. He was walking on a country road and he saw a country gentleman with 2 hens held under his arms and walking. So Mark Twain caught up with him and said, "Comrade, is it true that if you had 2 bungalows, you would give away one to somebody who does not have?" The old man said, "Yes, of course, I'm a party member. I will give away 1 bungalow to somebody who does not have." Mark Twain was amazed by this generosity. Then he asked, "Is it true that if you have 2 carriages, if you have 2 cars, would you give away one to somebody who does not have?" He said, "Of course, I will give away. I am a, office bearer in the party, so I will definitely give away." Then Mark Twain looked at him and asked, "If you have 2 hens, would you give away 1 hen to somebody?" He said, "What the hell? That's all I have, how can I give it away?" Everybody wants to give away what they don't have. This is a serious problem.
He just told a joke. It's interesting to look into it, how socialism has turned out in, for example, let's say Russia. Around 1917, Lenin came into power, claiming to be the spearhead for the socialist movement in Russia. So it's interesting to see how he came to the power. Basically, Lenin was a right-wing deviation for Marxist theories. What you need to understand is how he came into the power. So he rallied with the popular notions at that time, say socialism or liberalism, and he was a very good supporter of these ideologies. With their support, he has obviously come to the power, and after coming into the power, how he has behaved is also very important, because he know that with a socialist or communist structure he couldn't control the crowd anymore, so he has to go with the already established structure, that is again the capitalist or controlled by oligarchs, which has huge money and control over people. So he has to go with them. So it's like he came into office with the promise of socialism. After coming to the office, the way he is behaved is completely different from socialism. For example, the things which he has done, like he literally destroyed industrial unions or labor unions, which is completely against socialism. So that is one interesting thing that resulted in the downfall of the socialist economy of Russia, which most of the people won't talk, because at that time he was running a propaganda that this is the socialism which he has promised to the people. He has to keep his power. In the same way, the US and other powers were also running the campaign that okay, this is the socialism thing which is happening in Russia, which is not true ideologically. So they have to run because they have to show socialism in bad light, which has worked well for them, because if people start asking for socialist reforms or those kind of stuff, it will be impossible for capitalist economy, which make people more unequal and give resources to the rich possible. It will completely destroy the establishment. So they have to show socialism in bad light. That's what happened during the 1920s. And one more thing, he talks about market economy.
You need to understand this, whether we like it or we don't like it. I am not saying this is an ideal situation, but we have chosen market economy. Even with Jayaprakash ji, I was talking the same thing. We have chosen market economy, we have 33% tax. Somebody earns 100 rupees and gives you 33 rupees, after that don't ask him anymore, it's left to him. What he wants to do and what he does not want to do, that's a law. You keep saying, no, you have more, why don't you give it to me? That's not the way it works. He can do whatever he wants with his money, that's the way it works. He will gold paint himself, that's his business. It may be ugly for me, I will not look at him, but that's his choice, it's his money. If he's not paying taxes, if he's doing something illegal, then we want him in the prison, that's a different thing. But if he's doing legal business and he's paying his taxes, it's not your business to tell him how he should live, because that is the system you have chosen. This is the problem with Indians. We choose this direction, but we want to go this way. You tried, you dabbed, you didn't have the courage to go communist. So you tried a watered down version of communism called socialism, and a dead failure. Now we have chosen market economy, let's walk the distance. Every system has its evils, but what kind of people operate the system will make the difference, isn't it? So let us see how to transform individual people, rather than going on saying, why don't you give me your money because you made more money than me? It's not going to work. So it doesn't matter how strongly you feel about it. You need to understand, once you take up one system, you must respect it and walk all the way down.
So here is the problem now with the market economy. So if the market is level play field for everyone, then it's fine, it works completely fine. But here is the problem. Let's say just compare the market, free market, with a 100-meter race where there will be 11 people, let's say 11 or 10 people who are participating in that race. Okay, here we go. Every time they have to win the race by completing a 100-meter stretch. They have to run for the whole 100-meter stretch, right? So here is the problem. Now, let's say here is a policy where if you win the first race, the second race you need to run only for the 90 meters or 80 meters. Now what happens? For every winner, the next time he has to run only for 90 meters. Let's say he wins twice, if you reduce the distance when he wins again to 80 meters and keep on reducing it. Now what happens is, the people who lose the race have to run the whole 100 meters every time they participate in that race. If there is a structure where the winners, the distance they have to run reduces, then it's a very less probability that the person who loses wins a race again. So here is what happens with the free market nowadays, because the market seems like it's a free, but it's not free. For example, let's say a company makes 100 crore profit this year. So what do you think they do for the next year? Do you think they go back to their drawing boards and make a better product and sell it for more profits next year? No, it doesn't work that way. What they do is, they try to lobby politicians or policy makers, which will make their products more visible in the market, or they make governments to provide more incentives to their business, or in other ways they will make the regulations to fall or something of that sorts, which will improve their business. Again, when they make more business in the next year, they will lobby more and more, which in a long term will turn that particular company literally controlling the policy making of the government. So this is how free market works. Not alone in India, it works throughout the world. That's how things work. That's why we see day in and day out companies like Amazon or Flipkart or McDonald's or whatever may be the company, they grow at a unbelievable rate. So that's how it works.
If you walk it all the way, initially it look big imbalances, after some time everybody will get an opportunity to rise. It is always so in any society, in any situation, whether it's among animals, birds or humans, those who are stronger will always climb first. This does not mean only they can climb and others cannot climb. Others will also get to climb. It'll take a little more time. If you become rich and you start a business, you start an industry, only you will eat. 10,000 people will eat, isn't it?
Argument that if you choose a system and you have to follow that system indefinitely, even though it doesn't do any good to you, is stupid. Why? Because any system functions well only when it has proper checks and balances. The checks and balances for any system is the participants. So here we are, we have like 1.3 billion people. If the market is checked and balanced by only a few people, a few hundreds of people who make more money, that's not an equal ground, and it never makes a system more equal. So you can observe that from the reports recently, like Credit Suisse, it's a reporting company which they release global wealth report every now and then. Like recently they have released in 2017, where it shows a clear evidence that inequality is rising more than ever. Like in 2000, inequality in India was like, top 1% was making more than 50% of the total economy. Now it has risen to 70%. That's completely unbelievable. But the way system works, you have to cope up with the fact that inequality will rise no matter what kind of things the government is taking, because that's what the government wants. End of the day, they get back their money as donations to their political parties and so on.